with Todd Anderson, and this is Robert Martin.
Ben Sec.
Ben Sec.
See you later.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to the sideboard at the Atlanta Invitational. I'm Glenn Jones here with Todd Anderson.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Todd, how are you doing in the tournament?
I'm currently X3 with 2 rounds left to go.
So battling for top 8 likely.
Right, if I win the next 2, I think I'm locked. I might be in with a win and a draw, but I'm not positive. It just depends, I think.
Okay, well we're going to talk a little bit about the deck you're playing with now, which is your standard deck. It's Blue-White Delver. Wait. It's a little different.
It gets better.
You're playing a very different list that a lot of the guys from Roanoke and Josh Cho and those kind of guys are playing.
Sure.
So what's different about your Delver deck and why?
Okay, so if you read my articles, you know that last week I did a video and an article about Blue-White Delver with Talrand and Geist Hussein Draft. And that deck was pretty awesome in the mirror because Talrand is just a house. Sure. And I was able to main deck Mental Misstep, and that was really like a dagger against a lot of the Delver decks. But we were having a lot of trouble beating zombies and like the Thragtusk decks that had Cavernous Souls. And Jerry just had this ingenious idea to play Mirror Crusader. Like, Mirror Crusader is probably the best creature in my deck right now. Like, it's almost as good as Geist Hussein Draft. In a lot of matchups, it's way better.
Sure.
Like, they can't attack with Thragtusk. Like, I've never been happy to see a Thragtusk on the other end of the table ever, and I've usually been very afraid of it. But when I have Mirror Crusader in play, it's just a joke. Like, they can't attack and they can't block.
Yep.
And the other addition to the deck that's insane is Spectral Flight. And along with 3 Mental Missteps in the main deck and 3 Spectral Flights and the Mirror Crusaders and the Geist Hussein Traps, it's very easy to just fly over all of the green decks and the zombie decks that play, a ton of 2/2 creatures and just clog the board. Where that's normally where your Geist Hussein Traps would have a lot of problems. So.
Sure. Worth noting for the Spectral Flight is that it makes both your Geist and your Mirror Crusader too big to typically be bonfired, or in the case of Mirror Crusader, Pillar Flamed.
Yeah, I mean, they can always get lucky and flip like a bonfire for 4. But when you're gut-shotting their mana creatures and vapor snagging their mana creatures, a lot of times, even when they can Miracle Bonfire on like turn 4, they don't have 5 mana to kill your guys. So if you just like curve out on the play, like turn 1 Delver, turn 2 like gut shot, flip, ponder something, and then like Mirror Crusader into Spectral Flight, and they're just dead. Like I've never had matches against non-Delver decks that were as easy as they've been in this tournament. Like, my Delver matchup is pretty hard, which could be a bit of trouble in the last 2 rounds. I played 2 Delver decks so far in the last 2 rounds of Standard that I've played, and I'm 1-1, lost to Anthony Eason, beat Sam Black. Sam Black stumbled on mana though, and I think that's really how I won. Talrand is really hard for me to beat, and that was one of our concerns going in, but we wanted to make sure that our non-Delver matchups were solid. So
basically you hedged against non-Delver decks and hope to just be able to kind of muddy your way through most of the mirrors?
Yeah, I mean, the mirrors sometimes, like, if they don't have Talrand, their Restoration Angels are just very similar to your Mirror Crusaders.
That's fair.
And if they are playing like Hero Bladehold or something like that, like whatever. But there was not much difference between Mirror Crusader and any of the other 4 drops except for Talrand. But Talrand is just infinitely worse against any deck that has Bonfire or a Sweeper effect, or like even just like a lot of spot removal, because a 2/2 for 4 mana is not like a big deal. But at least Mirror Crusader has protections and Double Strike, which he just hits really hard.
All right, so you came into the field, you kind of accepted Talrand Delver as a tough matchup. A lot of other people went another direction. They built their Delver decks to beat the mirror and just kind of like hope to dodge many of the other decks.
I played 0 Delver decks in the first 4 rounds of Standard. I just want to point that out.
So you don't think that was probably a good choice on their part?
It depends. Like, in order for me to have gotten to this spot, I would have, if I had built my Standard deck differently, I would have gotten annihilated. Like, Mirror Crusader won me 3 matches hands down, just like playing it on turn 3, and they just couldn't block. And I used, like, along with, Vapor Snag and stuff like that, just having like a 4-power unblockable clock is just like ridiculous. So. But I mean, like, obviously it's going to be hard for me to top 8 if I play against Delver 2 more times. But I've played 2 Delver decks already, which is what I was expecting to play out of 8 rounds. So we'll just see how it goes from here, I guess.
Delver's definitely a presence in the metagame. If you go to Lauren Lee's metagame breakdown on our coverage page, you can see it was 36% of the Invitational Standard field.
That's not 50% like it was last time.
Yeah, it's been worse. Well, it's been worse. People mixed it up a little. There are a lot of other decks up near the top. Green-red aggro was like a real surprise. Did you guys see
Yeah,
that
I
coming
saw.
into the weekend?
No, not at all. Actually, like we expected like versions of Birthing Pod or like decks with like Blaze Splicer, Restoration Angel, stuff like that, like in small amounts. But Cedric and AJ are both playing just like hard green-red with like Hellkite, Bonfire, stuff like that. It's really cool looking. So.
Yeah, it seems to be leveraging pretty nice matchup against a lot of the Delver decks.
Yep.
I know
maybe
Cedric
not against
said,
Mirror Crusader and Spectraflight, though. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, they've got those pillars and bonfires. Could be tough.
Pillar could be a problem. That's true.
I do know that Cedric noted he wasn't too excited about his zombie matchup. He actually wasn't excited about many of his matchups when he was testing the deck beforehand, but they might have found something for the tournament. Certainly, you guys have found something that seems pretty good against most of the field, and then you just have to kind of exploit your skill edge and get there against the mirror.
Right.
Which in a lot of mirror matchups you were already struggling to get to 50% anyway.
Sure.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and send us to break. We've got another round coming up.